I'm Haywood from The Big Bakes. We're going to be showing you how to make this amazing honey hive cake. Okay, so for our first step, we're going to stack and fill our cakes. So we're going to add a little bit of buttercream to our board, just to act as a bit of glue. And then we're going to go in with our first sponge. Now, an effective way to get a really good interior of your cake is to alternate the layers. So a black sponge, which is just black cocoa powder. You can flavour it whatever flavour you wish. So a crumb coat is essentially just a thin layer of buttercream. You can see it's catching the crumbs. So this is quite essential if you want a blemish-free finish to your cake. Start here, we're just going to gently bring it in to the centre, going all the way around. That's going to set your crumb coat in, and then you're going to add your final layer of buttercream around the outside. You should be left with something that looks similar to this once you've added your final layer of buttercream. So our next stage will be covering our cake with our honeycomb fondant design. So for that, we've got some yellow fondant right here. Dust your surface with some icing sugar. We're going to work it with our palm. We have this really cool honeycomb impression mat. Now we're going to get rolling. Take your honeycomb impression mat, and then you're just going to put firm pressure. The moment of truth, we gently lift away this straight edge for the base of the cake. The top part, we actually don't want it straight. We want it to look quite textured, so it gives a more realistic look. Easy way to apply fondant to cake. You take a rolling pin, place it at one end of your fondant, and then you just gently fold or roll the fondant up onto the rolling pin. This is called a paneling method. Once you've got it on there, you want to put really gentle pressure because you don't want to squash your fondant. You simply pick it up, start at one end, and then you're essentially just unraveling it onto your cake, going around like so. I think I want to give it a little haircut, so I'm just using some scissors. I'm going to go in and add a bit more cuts to add that natural effect. You can use a pair of scissors, you can use a sharp knife just to go down and create some more tears. Just gives it a bit of more of a rustic look. You can also just use your fingers, pull up a bit, kind of like that jagged, frayed look that it creates. So to make these cute little bumblebees, really simple. All we're going to do is start with a small piece of yellow fondant into the palm of our hands, roll it into a ball first, and then we're just going to flatten out the edges. So we're left with a rounded shape, just like that. So that's the base of our bumblebee. I'm going to go in with some black fondant next to make the stripes. Just going to add a small amount of water onto our strip just to help it stick to the main body part. I'm going to pick up one of the strips and just gently apply it. You don't have to go all the way around. Just, I'd say, underneath. Then you can gently apply some pressure just to make sure it's stuck. So that's the one side. So we've got our stripes, two small round pieces. Roll it into a ball and then just flatten it. And then all you need to do is just pinch the end together to give it a sort of pleated look. I'm going to go in again with a little bit of water just there. You could even go onto the end of the wing itself. And then you're just going to place one on top like so. To give it a bit of support. 2 wings on our bee. You could even curve them up slightly to give them a bit of extra flight. Ooh. So cute. Do a little one eye. I'm going to level them up. There.
Yep.
Go in with some eyes. Just like so. And then, to make the mouth or the smile, we've got our fondant tool in that shape. And then you're just going to apply pressure to your fondant. So once we've made all our little bumblebees, the next step is to make them fly. So we're just going to gently avoid touching the wings, and then you're just going to gently stick your wire into the bee. You don't have to go all the way in, just until it's attached. And then into our cake. So you can choose where you want it. You can have some on the top. So we're just going to go down into the cake. We can also go in with some little flowers. And this is literally just some fondant and some flower cutters. You can pop that on there. So you can flood your top with your bumblebees until you're happy with that. Handmade little daisies. These create quite a cute effect. This is just a daisy flower cutter and then some fondant rolled into a ball for the center. In order to achieve that textured look in the middle of the daisy, I just used a toothpick or a cocktail stick and just did some dots into the center there. It gives it quite a cool effect. This little pot of honey, which is quite effective. Essentially, that's just fondant rolled into the sort of honey pot shape. And then I've got a little one of our bumblebees on top. I just used the edible pen to write honey on the label there. And then I squeeze a tiny little bit of honey on top to give it that look. And I've got a flower sitting on the side there. I've also made a honey dipper out of fondant again. This is just brown fondant that I've marbled to give you a wood grain effect. But you can decorate it however you'd like to, get as creative as you'd like. It's a really fun one. So once you're happy with your overall decorations, we've got our little bumblebees taking flight. We've added our honey dipper to the side, our little pot of honey. You can also add some extra offcuts of honeycomb, which give it quite a cool effect. Little daisies down the bottom. Now we're going to go in with our honey drip as a finishing touch. It's just going to come down off our honey dripper. So we're just going to go in with a small drizzle of honey. Coming off. And there you have it, our Honey Hive cake. So again, this is our finished cake. Once you've had time to spend all the time you would like on your decorations, going in with any detailing, got all your bees on, your dipper, anything else you'd like to make, hopefully it looks something like this. So make sure you subscribe for more recipes, baking tips, and of course, baking joy.